Io penso che ci sia un problema di compatibilità tra la cultura islamica o certa interpretazione della cultura islamica e i diritti e i valori della nostra civiltà. A me non sfugge che la gran parte dei centri culturali islamici in Italia sono finanziati dall'Arabia Saudita e l'Arabia Saudita è una nazione che a casa sua applica la Sharia e Sharia significa lapidazione per l'adulterio, pena di morte per apostasia, pena di morte per omosessualità.
Italy's immigration crisis has become a pressing issue, characterized by a dramatic increase in the number of migrants and refugees arriving on its shores. Over recent years, the country has faced a significant influx from regions like Africa and the Middle East, driven by conflict, economic instability, and climate change. This surge has strained Italy's resources and infrastructure, highlighting the urgent need for comprehensive policy solutions and international cooperation. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is known for her nationalist and traditionalist views. She often speaks about defending the traditional family structure and advocates for an Italy where the population consists of people who look Italian and are born to Italian parents. Meloni has a strong stance against illegal immigration, particularly given Italy's position at the forefront of immigration in Europe, with a significant number of migrants arriving in the country. While she has tried to cultivate a more moderate right-wing image in recent times, she remains loyal to her far-right origins. To understand Meloni's approach to immigration, it is useful to examine her comments on Italy's declining birth rate. She acknowledges that legal migration, when fully integrated, can positively contribute to the economy. However, she believes it is more responsible to address the European welfare system crisis by encouraging European citizens to have more children rather than relying on immigration. Meloni is focused on increasing the birth rate among Italians rather than welcoming immigrants who may have children in Italy. Members of her government have expressed concerns about the potential for ethnic substitution, a concept that reflects fears about the changing demographic makeup of Italy. Despite being in power for a year, Meloni's government has made little progress in fulfilling its promises. Italy's birth rate continues to decline, and the number of migrants arriving in the country has more than doubled compared to the previous year. In response, Meloni has called for European Union member states to work together to find serious and concrete solutions to the immigration problem. However, one of her challenges is securing support from countries like Hungary and Poland, whose leaders, such as Viktor Orban, are her allies but are unwilling to accept migrants from other countries. Europe's response to immigration remains divided, and the European Commission recognizes the need to collaborate with Meloni, who has already carved out an influential role on the topic of immigration in Europe. Without a collaborative approach to addressing the ongoing arrival of migrants in Europe, Meloni is likely to use the issue to rally support for herself and her far-right European allies in the upcoming elections. Albania is preparing to welcome asylum seekers from Italy, with 2 new processing centers to be managed by Italian authorities set to open on Albanian soil this summer. The move has sparked outrage among human rights activists, but the policy of third-country relocation is gaining some acceptance in Europe. Despite legal concerns, the unusual cooperation agreement between Italy's Giorgia Meloni and Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama is seen by Rama as a way to reciprocate Italy's acceptance of thousands of Albanian refugees in the 1990s. Albania will process around 36,000 asylum seekers who have arrived in Italy over the past year. The plan to handle these cases outside of both Italian and European Union borders is similar to the UK's proposal to open centers in Rwanda. However, questions remain about its effectiveness, respect for human rights, and legality. Since the early 2010s, the immigration crisis in Europe has been a topic of discussion, but the post-pandemic era really showed the severity of this situation. Germany is among the countries that have been hit the hardest by illegal immigrants.
Frühen Morgenstunden gab es eine Festnahme eines 15-Jährigen. Aktuell wird er in Zusammenhang mit der Tat geprüft. Wir gehen im Moment davon aus, dass es ein Täter war, Allerdings prüfen wir und ermitteln wir in alle weiteren Richtungen.
The reasons are the increase in violent attacks, armed robberies, and vandalism. German government is now taking serious action against mass immigration and designing new effective policies to neutralize this situation. Since early 2024, there have been some violent attacks in different regions of Germany that have caused public to protest against existing immigration policies. An attack of similar fashion occurred few days ago in the German city of Solingen, in which 3 people lost their lives and 8 were injured. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz paid his respects to the victims of a mass stabbing in Solingen, labeling the attack as terrorism and affirming his resolve to combat extremism. Scholz declared that terrorism threatens the way of life and the community, and vowed that such acts would never be accepted or tolerated. Over the weekend, police arrested the main suspect, a 26-year-old Syrian man. The Islamic State terror group claimed responsibility for the attack. Authorities searched the asylum center where the suspect reportedly lived. Media reports indicate that the suspect's asylum application had been rejected, and he was on the run before he could be deported back to Bulgaria, where he had first entered the European Union. The incident has intensified calls to tighten asylum, deportation, and security rules. Far-right groups held protests in response to the attack, which were met with counter-demonstrations. The German Chancellor pledged to ensure that those who cannot legally stay in Germany would be repatriated and deported. Scholz also expressed a desire to review weapons laws and enhance cooperation with European neighbors. The attack has shaken the public, with concerns about safety and the potential for the far right to exploit the situation, leading to fears of increased anti-refugee sentiment. For Scholz, the fallout from the attack may influence to upcoming state elections, where his Social Democrat Party is expected to face significant challenges. Till Stephan, a member of parliament for the Green Party, part of Scholz's coalition government, addressed the situation, acknowledging that while Germany has the necessary laws, their implementation has been lacking. He emphasized the need for better enforcement of these rules, particularly in deporting those who cannot remain in the country. Stephan also highlighted the difficulties of deporting people to war-torn countries like Syria and Afghanistan, noting the dangers they face. The opposition party, CDU, has called for a ban on asylum seekers from Syria and Afghanistan, as well as tougher border controls. However, Stephan warned that such measures could play into the hands of extremist groups like the Islamic State, which seek to create divisions in society. Stephan advocated for stricter laws on carrying knives in public, arguing that it would improve security by reducing the opportunities for crimes to be committed. He also emphasized the importance of preemptive measures, including working with young Muslims to prevent radicalization. The impact of the attack on the upcoming state elections is already evident, with the far-right AfD party likely to benefit. The AfD has been campaigning on anti-immigration policies, and the attack has provided further fuel for their agenda. Traditional parties, including Scholz's Social Democrats, may struggle in these elections, where populist and far-right parties are expected to gain significant support. Germany is facing increasing polarization, with protests and counter-protests becoming more common. The debate over asylum policies and deportation rules is likely to dominate the political agenda, with Scholz's government under pressure to respond effectively to the growing concerns over security and immigration. These pressures are the main reason for acceptance of the right-wing parties. In the recent EU elections, AfD Party of Germany gained 30% votes, which showed the enhanced popularity especially among German youth. Germany's federal government stands divided once again, and the reason is money. The cabinet needs to agree on its proposal for the 2025 budget before submitting it to the parliament, the Bundestag, for debate after the summer recess. However, things are being held up as the center-left coalition of Social Democrats SPD, Green Party, and the business-oriented Free Democrats FDP fundamentally disagree over where savings can and should be made. In Germany, the federal government and the 16 federal states are obliged to balance their books. The federal government is practically prohibited from taking out loans that exceed 0.35% of economic output in total. This so-called debt break, enshrined in the Constitution, is upheld and protected by Finance Minister Christian Lindner and his FDP party. The SPD and the Greens, however, argue that in times of crisis, the state has to borrow more to be able to invest. Tensions have risen as Meloni visited the site of a future Italian-run asylum center in Albania, where she was confronted by Italian lawmaker Riccardo Maggi and human rights groups who argue that the plan places an unfair burden on the migrants. The Italian and Albanian governments have signed a 5-year agreement aimed at reducing the number of people undertaking dangerous Mediterranean crossings from North Africa. Under this deal, Albania will host thousands of male asylum seekers in Italian-run camps while their claims are processed. Only those from a list of 22 countries that Italy deems safe will be deported to their home countries. The scheme is expected to start in early August and is intended to usher in a new phase in the management of the migration issue, potentially becoming a structural solution for the European Union. Although the number of migrants crossing the Mediterranean has dropped significantly in early 2024, largely due to an EU deal with Tunisia to strengthen border management, Meloni remains committed to her Albania plan, describing it as innovative and designed to prevent illegal sea journeys and streamline the asylum process. The centers in Albania are expected to process up to 36,000 migrants rescued at sea by Italian authorities annually. These centers will operate under Italian jurisdiction, with Italian staff managing internal operations and the Italian police maintaining public order inside. The Albanian government will cooperate with its police forces for external security. While some Albanians have expressed sympathy for the migrants' plight, there are concerns about the economic impact on Albania, a country already struggling with its own challenges. Prime Minister Rama views the initiative as a gesture of gratitude for Italy's past support, but the plan has faced criticism from Italy's opposition parties and human rights activists. They argue that Italy has a moral obligation to open its doors to those in need, but not to solve the world's problems, a task that seems beyond the country's capacity. Critics also question the claim that asylum seekers in Albania will be processed within 28 days, noting that the plan may not save Italy any costs and could encounter difficulties when countries refuse to repatriate their citizens. As preparations continue in Albania, the debate over the plan's merits and implications is intensifying. The Italian government is attempting to address the migration issue by moving processing of asylum seekers to a location far from Italian shores, a strategy that has sparked controversy and raised questions about its long-term viability. As the country continues to grapple with the complexities of influx management, it becomes increasingly clear that a collaborative approach involving both national policies and international support is essential. By delving into innovative solutions and fostering greater unity across borders, Italy can navigate this crisis more effectively, ensuring both the protection of vulnerable migrants and the stability of its own social and economic systems. The ultimate goal is to create a sustainable framework that not only supports those in need but also strengthens Italy's ability to manage future migration flows. By delving into comprehensive reforms and fostering international cooperation, Italy can work towards a resolution that balances compassion with practical realities, ensuring a more resilient and inclusive society for all. Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching.